What up, YouTube Live? How's it going, everybody? Um, Today I am preparing to travel to San Diego to cover the San Diego International Film Festival. But I figured before I drive down there, I want to share my thoughts about this big news that happened yesterday. Um, I don't want to wait till like Sunday for the Rockin' It with Rama Screen Live, our weekly show. By the way, tune in every Sunday at 3 p.m. right here at youtube.com/Rama Screen 1. But I don't want to wait till then to talk about this because it's like I'm just aching to share with you my thoughts about this. Um, and you may have heard yesterday, the biggest news on the biggest news on the web was that James Gunn, the writer director who gave us all those Guardians of the Galaxy movies, but got fired from that franchise by Disney and Marvel, um, seems to have found himself a new job, a new gig. I believe it was The Wrap that exclusively reported this, so I'm going to read off of that article. It says here that James Gunn, director of Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy movies, is now in talks to write Suicide Squad 2 for DC with an eye toward direct the next installment. So he's in talks to write the script, and if all goes well, he will also potentially direct the movie too. So that's interesting. That's cool, right? Suicide Squad came out 2 years ago, the first movie, and of course, those of us DC fans would know. But if you don't know what Suicide Squad is, it's basically a team of supervillains, a team of DC supervillains that they are recruited by Amanda Waller. This manipulative bastard. She's like Nick Fury, but not good. So, and she murders people as well. So she recruits them to carry out pretty much the government's dirty secret operations. And so these characters are expendables. We're talking about Deadshot, Harley Quinn, Croc, Boomerang, you name it, right? So those are the famous members of the Suicide Squad, but others can join in as well. Um, so let me give you a context to remind you what happened to James Gunn. He got fired earlier this year during Comic Con. Wow, I remember when I saw the tweet. It was during a Voltron panel. I was like, holy crap, is this a prank? Is this fake? No, it turns out he got fired by Marvel and Disney from Guardians of the Galaxy franchise. That he was supposed to direct the third installment, but that's no longer the case because Marvel and Disney got wind of James Gunn's old tweets from, I believe, a decade ago, and the tweets are pretty bad. As I mentioned in my previous videos about this topic, um, James Gunn joked around about a bunch of stuff, um, and they're just not funny jokes. They're just, some of them are just like dirty and nasty towards, I don't want to mention here, but towards kids. Just let's leave it at that. But it's just like, why do you joke about that? Now, I've mentioned in my previous videos about this that I don't think that he should have been fired, but I understood why he was fired. To quote from my friend Scott Manzel, who is the head of the LA Online Film Critics Society, which I am a member of, he put it perfectly when he said, um, Disney should rehire him, but they won't. Um, and I mentioned to you before in the previous videos, yeah, Disney should rehire him, in my opinion, but they won't because, again, to reiterate, um, the jokes are bad, and there's no defending those jokes. Now, I guess the only crime that James Gunn committed is that he's a terrible joke teller. Um, but still, Disney is not a public entity. It's not a government or federal, whatever. It's a private company. So when you say free speech, well, it doesn't really apply to them. Just like as to go on a tangent a little bit here, just as bummed out as I am about some outlets out there on YouTube or some channels that got taken down by YouTube, I'm bummed out about that. I'm like, why? They didn't do anything wrong. I thought there was free speech, but YouTube is a private company, so under Google, so they can pretty much do whatever they want. So in the case of Disney, back to that, Disney is a family-friendly company. So jokes like what James Gunn said would not fly with them. Um, so it's understandable. I think it's also sad that because the fact that James Gunn's old tweets were outed by a right wing group led by some douchebag named Mike Cernovich, and his mission, apparently he's taken on his mission to take down any liberals out there, including Hollywood elites that have said some bad things about Donald Trump. And James Gunn had said and tweeted, you know, stuff about Donald Trump. And so, these right wing groups, their mission is like, oh, let's go back to, I don't know, way back machine, find out their old, crappy jokes, and let's get them fired. That's so it sucks that Disney and Marvel succumb to that in a way, indirectly. Even Chris Pratt and Dave Bautista and Zoe Saldana and the cast members, they came up together. I mean, they got together and came up with this statement in support of James Gunn. Do you remember that? Um, Asking Disney to rehire him because in that statement they basically said, "Hey, you can't let the nastiness of our political climate, to pretty much to be the motivation of you hiring this amazing, I mean, firing this amazing talent because of that. You can't succumb to that." That's basically what their statement is. I'm of course paraphrasing, but of course Disney and Marvel won't rehire him. Disney and Marvel should, again, but they won't. Um, so now he's moving on. I mentioned to you before, James Gunn came from an R-rated background, right? He made the movies like Super. What else? Slither. Is it Slither? The one with Elizabeth Banks. And he made that funny, hilarious PG-13 porn series for Funny or Die website. So, not to make excuse or not to justify his terrible tweets from a decade ago, those terrible jokes, but you gotta also understand where he came from, what kind of background he came from, um, and that's the kind of humor that he was. What's the word I'm looking for here? He was from that environment. To him in that world, it's like that's funny, even though to us that's not funny, but to him that's funny. Again, that's not to excuse what he said. Um, so now back to Suicide Squad 2. I think this is a good thing. All right. Why? Because unlike Disney, unlike Marvel, and Marvel's owned by Disney, there's no certain, I guess you could say, family friendly parameters, right? Where you have to stay within these borders, if you will. Um, Now, I'm not saying that the Suicide Squad 2 or the new Suicide Squad movie will be like, will be showing graphic nudity or scenes of beheading or whatnot. They're not gonna go rated R with it. But I feel like this is a good fit for James Gunn. I feel like he is in an environment now where he can have or be given more creative freedom. All right. Um, and the second reason why this is a good thing is because this is his forte. This is his cup of tea. We're talking about movies about a group of misfits, and that's what Guardians of the Galaxy were. A group of misfits and group of uh, of characters that others would not view as heroes at first glance, you know, and they're more like anti-heroes. And so Suicide Squad are villains that are made to be this anti-heroes. And what better talent out there? Who else could tackle such a story? Who can tackle such characters better than James Gunn? Yeah, he's got a great track record with Guardians of the Galaxy. Now he's gonna do pretty much the same thing with Harley Quinn and Deadshot and Croc, and I can't wait. I can't wait. This is like the perfect gig for him. Now, I want to read to you here before we get to the Dave Bautista. Um, it says here that Suicide Squad 2, right? They're still calling it Suicide Squad 2, but it says here on the article that James Gunn has an interesting new spin for these characters for the franchise. It doesn't elaborate what that interesting new spin is, um, but it seems like he's going to take. It sounds to me. I'm speculating, of course. It sounds like he's gonna. It sounds like he has an idea for where he wants to take Deadshot, Croc, and Harley Quinn. That's going to be different from the first movie by director David Ayer, and I find that very refreshing. When I read that, I was like, "Oh, that's good. That's fantastic." It doesn't sound like this new spin or new take. It doesn't sound like it's being defined as a reboot. So they're not like remaking the whole thing. Um, it's just that James Gunn's like, hey, I got an idea to take these characters to this place, and apparently the he's in talks right now with WB, and maybe WB's executives and the producers of this movie will be like, I like your idea, I like your pitch, let's go there. Um, Suicide Squad movie, I hated it. I fucking hated that film. Um, and I'm not the only one. The movie was generally hated by fans and critics alike. But it did bank a lot of money. About $750 million at the box office worldwide. And that's on a $175 million budget. Damn. That's even before the marketing budget. So could you imagine? It's massive, expensive film. But it did make quite a bit of money, $750 million. So it does warrant a sequel. WB definitely wants a sequel. Um, so yeah, I hated the first film. It was so incoherent. It was a mess. It was poorly structured. I couldn't follow what was going on because the story was not allow or letting us in. Either and they apparently they cut out so many scenes of the Joker, and the Joker's role was reduced to just like three scenes. He was basically a cameo instead of a supporting character, instead of an integral character. He was just merely a cameo, Jared Leto's Joker. So overall, it was not satisfying. It was not the Suicide Squad movie that you know that the characters themselves. It did not do the characters justice. And these characters are amazing. They're amazing supervillains. I saw the Suicide Squad animated movie also earlier this year by WB Home Entertainment. Those DC animated movies, they're so cool. So that one was awesome. That one was really well done. Um, so yeah, James Gunn injecting James Gunn into this franchise is a fantastic idea. I can't emphasize this enough. He's the right man for the job, and apparently, as soon as the news about James Gunn wanting or in talks to direct Suicide Squad 2 or the new Suicide Squad movie, Dave Bautista, who plays Drax in Guardians of the Galaxy, replied to that link. He tweeted out, "Where do I sign up? Where do I sign up?" Wow. So now Bautista um, is the only man. I don't want to say the one cast member of Guardians of the Galaxy that was very outspoken about how displeased he is regarding Disney firing James Gunn. Bautista is really good friends with James Gunn. They're like bros, man. So Bautista is really hurt, and he's very outspoken about um, blasting. He's very outspoken blasting Disney for their decision. He even called Disney or working for the studio. He called the experience nauseating. Um, he tagged Disney in some of his tweets. So Bautista is not afraid of the giant company Disney, man. If other actors or his fellow cast members do not want to speak up as loudly as Bautista, I totally understand. They probably thinking like, oh, I got kids to feed. I got bills to pay. I need if I end up getting fired too, that would be bad for me and my reputation. I don't. It would make the next headline. It's not good. It's not good, and I understand why they're hesitant about that. But Bautista, coming from a WWE background, he's like, "Fuck it, man. If I don't like something, I will tell you that I don't like that something. If I don't like you, I will tell you to your face that I don't like you." So I don't know if it's gonna backfire. That's what I'm wondering. Because I think Bautista, along with Zoe and Chris Pratt and everybody else, I think they are contractually obligated to return for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. They signed a contract. So I don't know what kind of penalty attached to it. What kind of penalties that Bautista might have to pay if it comes down to him leaving that franchise to join Suicide Squad 2, to join James Gunn. Um, but if that does happen, of course, that's going to be the biggest news of the day. And it's just extra ballsy on his part. Holy crap. I'm just thinking like, man, what would be the consequence of that action? That it would be so colossal, and again, it'll be the biggest news of that day. Because we never know. At this point, we're just speculating. Um, is Batista gonna be up and go join the Suicide Squad 2? If so, what character will he play in Suicide Squad 2? Or maybe he'll replace the guy who plays Croc. Um, or maybe another villain. Of course, DC has lots of super villains. So this is the update right now. I want to share you my thoughts just real quick before I go to San Diego and cover San Diego International Film Festival. Overall, I think this is a fantastic thing for James Gunn. I'm so happy for him that he gets a new gig that is this big, because I thought that after he got fired from Disney and Marvel, that James Gunn was gonna return to doing a bunch of independent films, like back in the day. I don't know, something like Super, right? Something smaller budget for the next few years. I thought that's what was gonna happen to him, but apparently, you know, even though I'm not a big fan of WB's DC Cinematic Universe, gotta give credit where credit's due. If they in their wisdom say, hey, we can't waste this talent. This guy made so much money for Disney and Marvel. He could make so much money for us. Let's get him. Let's get him. So if that's the reason behind their decision to negotiate with James Gunn about having him on this project, kudos to WB's DCEU. Again, I'm not a big fan of DCEU. They've let me down so many times, as you probably could relate. But credit where credit is due, man. And I hope that when James Gunn gets on board Suicide Squad 2, that he would be given the freedom to 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 do with these characters, and to go with his story for these characters as he sees fit, as he envisions it. Without too many cooks in the kitchen telling him what to do. So yeah. So and it's gonna be no holds barred Suicide Squad movie under James Gunn. Oh my goodness, I can't wait. It's gonna be fantastic. I I can just imagine it's gonna be 10 times better than David Ayers. No offense to David Ayers, man, but that movie was shitty. Suicide Squad in 2016 was shitty. So James Gunn will fix that. He will make it awesome. He will make it worthy of Suicide Squad characters. Uh, will Dave Bautista join in? I don't know. Will Disney and Marvel let him go? I don't know. What will be the consequence of Dave Bautista just jumping ship? You know, what will be the penalties that come with that? You know, leaving your contract? I don't know. What do you guys think? Should he leave or should he stick around with Disney and Marvel? Do you like the idea of James Gunn directing Suicide Squad 2? Did you like Suicide Squad movie 2 years ago? And do you think James Gunn's gonna make it better, or maybe do you think that James Gunn, maybe you're on the camp of those who think that James Gunn's tweets were so despicable that he should be not hired anymore in the industry? What, where are you on this topic? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, subscribe to my channel. Thanks for tuning in. Um, I will be giving out more reviews and, of course, more interviews from San Diego Film Festival and from Screamfest that are happening this week simultaneously. And, of course, come back and watch me live giving the news to you and commenting on the news with you this Sunday at 3 p.m. Pacific time on the weekly show Rockin' It with Rama Screen Live. Thanks for being Rama Screen fans. Let's rock this.